NASA told us something very important about Pluto. It's not what we think it is. What does NASA mean by this? Do they mean the most recent pictures taken by the New Horizons spacecraft, which show that strange things are going on Pluto's surface? One of the pictures shows what looks like an object floating on top of Pluto's surface. These findings make us wonder if there really is advanced alien life on this faraway world, or if we are just seeing a strange geological trait. Even though Pluto isn't very big, the stories it has to tell are huge and full of shocks. When Pluto wasn't recognized as a planet in 2006, scientists didn't have access to the data from the New Horizons ship, which had already been there for years. We've learned since then that this smaller body is more than we first thought. How did scientists come to doubt this planet that we all know and love? It was decided to change Pluto's classification to a dwarf planet after other small planets in the Kuiper Belt were found. Scientists came to the conclusion that there needs to be a limit on what a planet is and what a small planet or trans-Neptunian object is. Although Pluto's size and round shape give it points, the fact that its orbit shares space with other objects means that it's not considered clean. This is why it was taken off the list of major planets in the solar system. A lot of people on Earth thought this was a shame, and the choice made by space experts made most people angry. Many people found it annoying that Pluto was no longer a planet. There were letters to NASA from well-known experts who were against the change because this small, strange planet had so many fans on Earth. People were so angry that even government-run groups got letters from angry citizens asking that Pluto be made a planet again. This world had been around since the 1930s and had been an important part of how the 9 planets came to be. This idea was taken a step further in 2015 when New Horizons sent us the first real picture of Pluto, which showed us its cute face. Just think, it was the first real picture of Pluto. It's important to remember that any pictures or charts of the planet you may have seen before were not real shots. At one point, Pluto even blocked Hubble's view of its surface, but New Horizons was able to take pictures of the dwarf planet as it really is. Wonderful, well-organized, obviously rich, and with a heart. Since then, many more people have become interested in the planet on the edge of the solar system. One day, maybe space experts will change their minds, and we will get Pluto back. Everyone gasped when they saw the first real pictures of Pluto. It felt like magic when the first data from the New Horizons probe got to mission headquarters in 2015. Everyone there knew they were about to see a planet for the first time. It was a planet they had heard of before, but had never seen up close. All of the computers in the world put together this stunning picture from a huge number of separate pieces and pixels. The probe found something about Pluto that completely changed how we think about this very faraway world. Planetary experts now know that Pluto is much more complex, more structured, and more alive than they thought before. Also, the small planet looked like it had a lot of beautiful features, and maybe even some strange natural features that no one had expected. The dim, mysterious world in the Kuiper Belt changed into a huge body that showed so much life that it blew scientists' minds with each new piece that New Horizons sent back. Scientists kept seeing more and more strange natural features. Pluto was not the usual icy no-man's land with deep craters. Instead, it was a unique place with bright spots of ice, deep ravines, and smooth frozen surfaces. The many pieces of information, pictures, and discoveries that came back from Pluto took years to make the long trip to Earth. We have been amazed by new and interesting things about Pluto over and over again since 2015. Who is that walking on the surface of Pluto? This is amazing. In 2016, this moving picture went around the news. But what could you see here? It looks like someone is walking across a strange snowflake in the shape of a honeycomb. There are real ice structures, but they are not made of water like on Earth. Instead, they are made of nitrogen and methane. Scientists found that the strange thing was a big piece of ice that seems to float on top of the frozen plain. People think that the huge chunk of ice is made of solid nitrogen. Experts found something truly amazing in these strange-looking rocks. They now think that Pluto has a nitrogen source a few kilometers below the surface, where solid blocks make up rock formations. These blocks are pushed up by the planet's core, which makes the honeycombs and fields that look like mountains that are moving around. This suggests that the planet has a warm heart. This finding is a hint that could change how we think about Pluto in a big way. It's definitely more special than was thought before. Land formation caused by heat and changes in the surface features show that Pluto is alive, which makes us think we didn't give it enough credit. It looks like this smaller body has some thought and fire inside it, which means that Pluto probably has areas of liquid that look like seas or lava. William McKinnon, a geophysicist on the New Horizons project, said that the small planet's interior was like Hudson Bay in Canada, which is very big. Virtual simulations showed that this beautiful scene has changed a lot over the years and still does. Can you make out the clear X on the right, below the frozen mass? Sublimation, a process in which a material goes straight from a solid to a gaseous state without going through a liquid phase, is likely what made this feature. These cycles happen because Pluto is very hot, its geology is complicated, and its atmosphere is strange for a dead world. Could it be Christmas on Pluto in the snow? Does that sound crazy to you? It's a fact, though. Pluto really is a puzzle. The New Horizons project found some interesting things about Pluto's environment and how it sometimes changes. Pluto is a planet that orbits in the cold, faraway Kuiper belt. Because of its unique path and tilt, it changes dramatically with the seasons. The New Horizons probe discovered that the amount of nitrogen, methane, and carbon monoxide in Pluto's atmosphere changes a lot based on how close or far away it is from the Sun. These changes have an effect on the small planet's weather and surface. One interesting thing about Pluto's weather is that it snows there. Mostly frozen nitrogen and methane are involved in this. Like on Earth, where snow only forms from water, Pluto's very low temps cause nitrogen and methane, which are more volatile gases, to build up and fall as pretty snow. All of these interactions change and strengthen Pluto's surface by adding new layers on top of the old ones. In turn, these changes cause other geological processes, like frozen movement and maybe even periods of cryovolcanoes. The New Horizons team also showed that these changes in the seasons are closely linked to the pressure in the atmosphere. The dim light from the sun is enough to warm up Pluto's atmosphere and make it slightly expand when it is closest to the star. Its atmosphere freezes and drops back to the surface as it moves away from the sun. This creates a very strange contradiction. When Pluto's atmosphere cools down, it could snow made of nitrogen and methane. The changing brightness of the surface and the location of cold deposits are more signs that almost every feature on Pluto's surface is linked to these changes in the atmosphere. The mountains on Pluto are not made of rock, but of ice, which is much more flexible. This means that the whole surface moves a lot more than, say, the surface of Earth. What is inside Pluto's heart? Who would have thought that Pluto's heart isn't just a lovely, warm carving? In spite of how noticeable it is, this area of Pluto is also one of the most shocking. The area was once called Sputnik Planitia. It was named after Sputnik 1, the first man-made satellite that the Soviet Union launched in 1957. It covers an area of about 1,000 square kilometers and is shaped like a huge heart. The ice is mostly nitrogen ice, with small amounts of frozen methane and carbon monoxide. The darker, less stable areas around Sputnik Planitia stand out sharply against its bright, almost perfect surface. Sputnik Planitia is a large impact formation that was probably changed over time by volcanic cycles. In Earth's normal volcanic activity, magma rises from the planet's center to the surface. In Pluto's cryovolcanism, cold materials rise from the small planet's center to the surface. Deep inside Pluto, there are sources of heat that warm up nitrogen and other gaseous substances. These substances then push upward, where they freeze and form unique structures like this one. Because Sputnik Planitia is so flat, scientists think that the frozen surface is constantly being refreshed by cycles inside the planet. These shapes are probably caused by wind inside the ice sheet. Scientists think that there may be a range of liquid water beneath Sputnik Planitia's smooth ice sheet. The heat inside Pluto may keep this water liquid. It's not completely impossible that there could be life in this subglacial sea, but experts aren't sure. What does Sharon do? When New Horizons was first planned, not many people knew that Pluto has more than one moon. The American scientist James Christie found Sharon in 1978. It is Pluto's largest moon. Sharon is much bigger than Pluto. Its diameter is about half that of Pluto, which makes the link between the two objects very interesting. For Pluto and Sharon, this means that they always face each other in the same way. Charon's surface is also very different from Pluto's. It has huge impact scars and deep canyons. Scientists think that Pluto and Charon have been trading stuff with each other in the form of comet-like bodies. Pluto's surface is a frozen wonderland of methane and nitrogen, but experts think there may be more going on below the ice. New Horizons showed that Pluto's core may change a lot more than we thought. Geological activity caused by heat suggests that the dwarf planet may have an ocean below the surface, or at least places where flowing water can be found that are kept warm by things happening inside the planet, such as tides heating it up or radioactive decay. The possibility of life on Pluto, along with the discovery of complex organic molecules in the atmosphere, has made people wonder if it is possible for life to exist there, even in such harsh circumstances. It's not likely that life as we know it could live on Pluto's surface, but it's not impossible that there could be some kind of microbes living beneath the icy shell. Scientists have actually come up with similar ideas about moons in our solar system. For example, Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, is thought to have liquid water below its thick ice shell. A new age of seeing the world. When Pluto was changed from a planet to a dwarf planet in 2006, it may have been less well known for a while. But the New Horizons project brought attention back to this faraway object in the solar system. The probe's huge amount of data has changed the way we think about Pluto forever and has inspired a new generation of scientists and space fans. Pluto is not just a frozen, lifeless rock in the farthest reaches of the solar system. Its complex atmosphere, amazing pictures of its surface, and surprising geological features have made this very clear. The questions that Pluto brings up will definitely lead to more science research as we learn more about it. Does Pluto have life? Could the world's icy oceans help us figure out how life can live in harsh conditions? Will there be even more shocks on future missions? Pluto is still a mystery, as scientists are still looking into it, and more space missions to the outer solar system are still an option. In fact, it has become a symbol of the power of exploration and the endless potential that lie in space that hasn't been explored yet. We don't know what new information we will learn about this mysterious world and the many others in our solar system as technology gets better and new missions are planned. Conclusion: Pluto is a strange place. In conclusion, Pluto's story is a great example of how science is always changing, testing our old ideas and helping us learn more about the world. Scientists have been surprised by Pluto at every turn, from being reclassified as a dwarf planet to being shown in a fascinating way as a world that is changing and busy geologically. It is an interesting place to explore in the future because of its complicated geology, strange atmosphere, and possible oceans below the surface. There is still some disagreement about whether or not Pluto will ever be the 9th planet in the solar system again. However, it is clear that many people think of it as a symbol of the unknown and a source of science interest. We have a long way to go before we fully understand Pluto. As our technology and tools get better, the icy world at the edge of our solar system will no doubt keep giving us new information. Even though we might never know everything about Pluto, we can be sure that it will always be a fascinating mystery that will make people wonder and lead to new finds for years to come.